Yeah, I mean, I felt anger before when I'm not typically an angry person, but being on that dance floor, I've really explored anger and like almost a violent way of thinking where I'll be like just on the ground and like flailing like really hard or like thrashing my limbs around and not being entirely sure even where that emotion or feeling is coming from. And I've wondered if it's something that just exists in the periphery and it's an energy that's flowing through me, or maybe if it's something like ancestral, or it could be something that I haven't processed inside of me, that I haven't acknowledged, perhaps from my childhood, something I was angry about. And it just surfaces, whatever its source, it surfaces. And I felt like anger and violence during my dance, which is something that in my day-to-day I rarely ever feel. So it caught me by surprise, but it was really powerful and beautiful to go through on that dance floor. It was a healing process. Like I allowed it to flow out of me and I allowed it so that I didn't have to be angry anymore, even though I'm still not entirely sure what the source of it was. Yeah, so like the play is a big healing part of my life. And I don't necessarily always consider it healing. Like play is just play. You know? Like I don't need to be healing anything. I'm just having fun, which is something that I was disconnected from a number of years ago. My life had become very regimented and structured. At the start of 2013, like I had no energy, no libido, no vigor for life. And I had actually resolved that I was going to put a bullet in my brain if I couldn't figure myself out within a 2-year time span, because I just had no zest for living. I was going through the motions. I was working as the vice president of an advertising agency, a co-founder of a separate startup, and I was training athletically and intensely about 14 times per week. And so there was no meditation, no yin energy, no relaxation, and it even became difficult for me to just hang out with friends because I was so tired all the time. Like I would go into my advertising agency at noon and I would have to leave by 3:30 because I'd be so smoked. And then the only thing I was looking forward to was training or working out intensely. So it had this thing that had started as a love and joy had transformed into an obsession and a borderline addiction, this thing for movement. So now it feels incredible to have reconnected with why I fell in love with movement in the first place, and to just treat it as what I always wanted it to be, was play, to just feel good. And dance for me is the ultimate form of play, because of all forms of movement, it's the one where my mind gets out of the way the most. And I've had countless scenarios on dance floors where I'm in a total trance and I'm not thinking, and I'll just even be watching my body and I'm like, who is controlling this? Like what's happening next? And I have no idea what's coming next. And I'm just totally in a flow state, not thinking, you know? And like other forms of movement, I do get fully immersed, but it's not as immediate or as often, I would say. You know, like if I'm working on strength training or gymnastics or acrobatics, I feel more sort of like disciplined in my approach to it and more structured. Whereas with dance, I've never studied it in any formal capacity. You know, like I've done one salsa class in my life, like 4 years ago, and I went to one breakdancing class. And I mean, I've studied all different forms of movement, but dance is the one that I've just always treated as pure play. And that it feels really good to have that thing where there's no pressure at all. There's never been any pressure with it. So it's complete freedom.